So you just played it?
So I just played it.
Okay. Well,
yeah. I'll just do that. We'll just run through that real quick. So I forgot to hit the record button, but we're recording now. So
yeah, we missed a little. Who took a shot?
We just missed an intro and a shot, so it happened real quick. You know, there's nothing that's gonna make the headlines. You're all good. It's all fine. Okay, it's gonna be all right. But this is Digital Cortex. My name's Steven. That's Random Styles. This is spiced rum, Maker's Mark brand. Do we do it again?
No,
we just had a terrible reaction coming out of this.
Do you want to do another shot? I'll do another shot. I don't care.
Oh, fuck it. We might as well. I ain't got nowhere to go.
I know, right? No driving for you. Yeah, no, the first shot, well, that's what I was going to say before you told me it wasn't recording. The first shot, it's a lot when you have to take 2 gulps. Because I went, oh, and then there was still some.
You don't need to pour as much this time.
There was
it was definitely 2 gulps for me, too.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I don't ever want to do 2 gulps, just 1. It's fine.
They're superhero shot glasses, man. You know, they're going to be a little bit of extra.
They are actually, and I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. I filled it up to the top like it was normal.
No.
All right. Cheers
again.
Cheers.
I don't know why, but we're doing it.
I don't know what it is today, but the shots are getting me.
I've just been so fucking tired all day today.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess.
Me and Crystal went out Saturday night. We went to go see. They do over there. Oh God, where is it? I don't know exactly where. I think it was like very close to McKinley and 3rd Street or something like that. It was
McKinley
like Fillmore and 3rd Street.
Okay.
It's Drunken Shakespeare.
Right.
So you have I think it's like 4 actors who have rehearsed a version of Shakespeare, but one of them actors is drunk.
Oh.
So they take 4 shots to begin the show. And
all of them?
Just 1.
Oh, just 1. And you have to guess?
One. No.
Oh.
They tell you.
Oh, okay.
They tell you. And then throughout the show, they appointed, they raffled off somebody to be the king and queen of the show.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they did Macbeth.
Okay.
So they raffled it off. I think the winning bid was like $300 or something.
Nice.
They gave them caviar and opened a bottle of champagne, and it's funny. So it's like a comedy show, but they're also trying to get through the entirety of Macbeth. But they do it very abridged and with a lot of comedic pauses and stops and things to do other crazy things and then do sexual things. This lady, she flashed the audience at the end of the night. She was so drunk, apparently.
Oh, she's the one that had the 4 shots?
Oh, yeah. No, she ended up having 6 because that queen and king that raffled, one of the perks is 2 times throughout the night, you're allowed to ring a bell, stop the show, and they make the actor who's been drinking do like a test, and you decide if they've had enough or if they need another.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they made him do another 12 times.
Yeah, you never say they had enough.
And then so she had 6 shots in. And it was funny and it was very casual, but in a very small venue. It's called the Rose Theater. And I think that's all they do there is the drunken theater stuff.
Cool.
And then of course they bring drinks to you and food to you.
Yeah.
And they actually start you with a shot.
Okay.
So when you get there, they've already poured you a shot and they hand it to you and they give you your seat.
Wow.
And that was included in the tickets and they weren't too bad. I got them on the Gold Star app for $30 plus tax or something.
Each?
Yeah.
Okay.
So not too bad.
Yeah. Because it includes drinks and dinner and a show. I mean, just drinks alone is $30 anywhere you go now.
And then we walked ourselves down to another place it used to be called the Gastropub. Do you know where that is?
No.
It's like a slightly outdoor venue. It was smaller, but it was cool. Like, so we've been there before, but I guess now it's called the Topaz Lounge, and it's pretty much the same thing. The food menu looked very similar. The atmosphere of it's very fine, I guess, for what they do. They got tables, they have cocktails, and they got burgers.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem is that for whatever reason, this Topaz Lounge, they just played like house music all night.
Okay.
And so we're trying to sit out there and like have a good time, and then they're playing like nothing but house music, and nobody's dancing to it. It's just like really loud house music.
Shit.
And everybody at this place was just trying to casually drink and dine, you know, like what you would think it would be for.
Whoever has the
took
playlist.
it over now.
They had a
DJ.
Going. Oh, it was a DJ playing this.
DJ.
So he's not reading the room
and
at all.
Supposedly, like the reviews are like, well, I think that's what the owner wants because they want it to be that theme, but it's like it's not working. Yeah, it's not working at all.
When you play music, even if if they tell you this is the theme and you're playing it and no one likes it, but then you kind of like stray a little bit and people are like, yeah, you can kind of read it and be like, hey, I got to play this. This is what but maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe they have got strict rules and they say, you got to follow the list. This is what I want, So maybe he's trying to set a certain atmosphere, but it's like he's setting something, but the clients that are coming are wanting something else. So it's like, you gotta adjust on the fly.
I feel like they should. So, I mean, we had just a couple appetizers we split and then drinks. And that was pretty much it. Drinks were strong. Drinks were strong as fuck. That's for sure. And then we headed over to...
Trying to get you ready for that house music.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
We headed out to...
I've been taking some rips and I don't want your smoke alarm.
I mean, I'll just have to walk out there.
I just thought about that.
But yeah, we walked to Greenwood Brewery or something.
Yeah.
It's a really cool little small business brewery. And I think it's like one of its headlines is that it's woman owned and operated.
Oh, okay.
Or the owner is a woman.
Word.
And that's pretty good. They have a variety of different beers that they'll sell you off of their taps, and then of course you can take some home and stuff in cans and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they got a nice little atmosphere outside, and they were doing a theme for like I forget, it was some pride thing going on.
Okay.
At the time, but pretty cool. We were there, like the last people there. They were going to do last call, like 15 minutes, and they were going to close.
So wait, this is all after your show?
Yeah.
You went to the techno spot or house spot, and now you at this spot?
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to mention, we had about like, I think 40 or 50 milligrams of edibles in us too. So we were having a good time. And then we decided to call our Uber, and as we're waiting for the Uber, I kid you not, about like 6. I don't know if it was the same one, but I saw 6 times those Waymo cars running around with no drivers in them, which was trippy.
Yeah, I hate those stupid things. Have a war with Waymo.
You have a war with Waymo? What's your beef with Waymo?
I got stuck behind them, man. Remember? I'm driving down one of these narrow streets that has cones, and they couldn't figure out the cones. It was stuck. It was literally slowly going into a cone and pushing it.
Hey, man, it's still learning.
Yeah, really slow. But those 2 guys in the car, that's what was making me mad too. Is 2 guys, and they're just kind of looking at each other, and I could see right into there because I'm right behind them.
Was there a driver or no?
Yeah, there's 2 guys.
Okay, so there was
there was a driver and a passenger.
So this is before they went like driverless.
They were doing some kind of fucking experiment with it.
Yeah, they were testing it.
Yeah, and it was fucking failing is what it was doing because I'm stuck behind it for like 10 minutes straight, like, and the line behind me is building up because this is a small street on downtown. I think it was like 3rd Avenue. I think that's what I was on. And or 5th. Which one? I don't remember. But anyways, because one of them only goes one way and the other one goes the other way, but now one of them goes both ways, so it's weird. But I'm stuck behind it and it's just not moving and it's slowly running into this stupid cone, not figuring it out. And then there's cars behind me honking because they don't know what's going on. They can't even see the stupid car because my truck. So they don't even know that they probably literally think
they just think it's you being an asshole.
So
in your
now
truck.
I'm getting blamed for the whole backup. There's cars way back there now honking because they don't know what the fuck's going on. And what am I supposed to do? I'm stuck.
Did you try honking at the Waymo?
I thought about it, but I could see the guys in it. I knew what they were doing. I knew that it's some fucking thing that maybe that's part of the experiment. I should have
maybe that's what they were doing was like just trying to test it.
Yeah, they're saying what happens when you piss somebody off. I guess they do nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, because I could.
That's its defense mechanism. It goes straight like full turtle and just tries to hide in its shell.
Oh, what if it started freaking out? If I started honking at it, dude, it's all.
It gets anxiety.
It goes sideways and like starts moving in ways that it's not even supposed to.
The company's got to pay for its counseling now.
Yeah, the mirrors go in and out from the sides.
In and out. The brights go on and off.
Yeah, it starts blinking. It's black light and
its horn goes out, but it's not like it's like really high pitch now.
Yeah, like it's screaming for help.
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe I should have honked at. If I ever get stuck again, which I hope I never do that again, but if I do, I'm gonna definitely test this theory now because that was ridiculous. It was just
maybe it's improved now. Maybe it's better because of that experience.
Oh, it should be better.
I hope so.
From what I hear and read about automated driving, it's one of the few industries that receives the most amount of money for the littlest improvements or smallest gains. That, they've been talking about self-driving cars for a long time now, and we don't have them. Right. And they literally don't want to put it on any of the Teslas. They do like assisted driving and they have this like all these like rules, but there's no fully automated cars just riding around. At least on a mass production. They do smaller ones in Phoenix, right? But then some people get stuck in the cars, right?
It's like the city ordinance and stuff. Like they got to get approval like that way.
So they're approved for so many cars to ride for probably so many hours or whatever
in a specific boundary.
In probably like some square.
That's why if you open up Waymo, it's only in specific like areas. Like it's not going to get on the freeway.
I heard about somebody getting stuck on one though. Like they couldn't get out and it was like going the wrong way or something, dude. Like, I don't know.
That's weird.
I know. And they can't get out. What are you supposed to do? Like, like you never was finished watching Upgrade, huh?
I haven't.
There's a scene where they're in the automated driving car and it starts freaking out in the very beginning.
I've seen a bunch of scenes where automated cars like freak out and you're stuck or die because of it.
Yeah.
That
one in Upgrade, it starts going really fast and then it flips because it hits something.
Was it hacked?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they're like trying to override
I feel like
it.
Every time that happens in movies, it's always hacked. They did that in iRobot. You remember the cars like stopped him in the tunnel and all the robots came to try to kill him.
Yeah.
He had to override the car.
Well, they know they talked about it literally that they can do that because when the Ukraine-Russia thing started, they were like, should we shut down the Teslas? Like they were telling Tesla to shut their cars down because they do have the ability to just turn them off and not let them drive anywhere. So I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And
I know. And that's like pretty... I don't know. You get into some real tiptoe type scenarios here. It's like,
that's the overreach.
Like we feel like we should because there's a war going on and we want to help the good guys versus bad guys. It's always a situation, right? Or whatever side you're on. But then it's also like, well, as a company, if we do this because of that reason, how does that affect or uphold our like privacy rights and stuff that we've written into our own agreement with our customers? I
think they have some kind of probably language in there.
That was the whole thing, and I feel like we've talked about it before. But like the case where like it was one of these shooters or something in California, I think it was, or a terrorist attack or something like that, where they had the iPhone of the person and they told Apple, like the authorities were like, "Yo, get us into this iPhone," and Apple refused to because it's like, well, we would be breaking
our agreement,
our privacy agreement that we've made with our customers. regardless of who that person ended up being, that's something that we feel we have to uphold. And so it was a big controversy because it's like, what's the right thing to do here? Someone who's done like a terrible crime against humanity, or like upholding what's right for the majority of all of our users, which for Apple is, uncountable numbers of people.
I wonder what's happened since then, because I don't know. You don't hear that much about that kind of talk anymore.
I think it went to like court or something, and I think Apple won in that case.
Well, yeah, I don't think they have to
for their defense, or
I don't think they have to give it up,
because they ended up getting like some person to just bypass the passcode, hack through it.
Yeah, you can always get people to hack it. And I think that's more probably what's going on now. Maybe that's why we don't hear about it anymore, because they're just hacking them.
Because that happened. And so it's like, well, let's just hack it then. And so now it pays to be a hacker.
It does. I mean, this generation for sure. The nerds are supreme now. It's not like the 90s when they were like, you're a nerd. And everybody made fun of you and the jocks ruled. Now the nerds rule, dude. Nerd.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Marvel's so big, right? Nerd. Have you went to any Comic-Con? Like Phoenix Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah. We went to the Phoenix.
I guess that's the easier one to get into. San Diego's hard.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think it was called Phoenix Comic-Con anymore. I think it was... They called it something else because they couldn't actually get the rights from Comic-Con to use the word Comic-Con.
But everyone pretty much knows what it is. But that's
what it was. It was pretty much a Comic-Con type show. Yeah. But Crystal did surprise me with tickets to that for my birthday.
Nice.
We ended up going super late. So
that was awesome.
We didn't get a lot of panels in there, but one that we did get to see, which I was super excited about, and this was in 2019. So it was a panel about the Justice League. I mean, the DC animated movie universe.
Okay.
So they have a whole like animated movie universe, and they were talking about pretty much all DC animation.
The Batmans, for sure.
Batman's
so huge,
Justice
man.
League movies.
Don't they release like a movie every year? At least.
Oh,
Batman?
yeah. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're all great now, but at one point, they all were one big storyline.
I've watched
all these movies, and they're really good.
Yeah.
The majority of them are great. I know in the last couple of years, I'd say in the last like 5 years or so of these movies coming out, some of them have been like, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like best.
It's still entertaining.
Yes.
Like you could watch it.
And they follow the comic story arcs a lot more closely than they would in the live action films.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some, I've always like said it too, like people ask about the movies and stuff on each side. And they always ask you like, well, what do you like more, DC or Marvel? And I like both. For lots of different reasons.
Yeah, they each have good characters.
Yeah,
like
Marvel's animated stuff is not as fun as DC's stuff. Yeah, Punisher
and Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take that any day.
And then there are some great things though going on, like the drama and sometimes the characters are more, I don't know, like hardcore when it comes to the DC stuff over Marvel.
That's the Deadpool joke. He's like, "Whoa, you're so dark. Are you part of the DC universe?"
Yeah, because they went super dark with the DC movies and shit. Yeah, Deadpool's hilarious. Well, actually, there's a new trailer just got released for a new DC movie, featuring Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
which is super exciting.
I sent that out to some people.
Yeah,
it looks good. I like it.
The only thing I'm not happy with is the portrayals of Blue Beetle that I have seen where it's non-comic book, like so it's in some type of TV or animated movie or whatever the case is, which makes more sense to me is the way that the AI talks to him.
Okay.
So like the way the AI talked to him in that was generic AI that you would see in pop culture, that a human would have made. But the technology that's on his back is supposed to be alien.
Yeah.
And so I think they did it really well that way. But in pretty much any other animated form I've seen, whether it be TV shows or movies, it's usually his voice, the same person who's voicing the Blue Beetle at that time.
Yeah.
And the character in this case, Jaime Reyes, it's his voice, but in a more like aggressive tone.
Yeah. And this is DC,
and that makes
right?
sense. Yeah. And this is DC.
Which was surprised me of, I mean, the trailer, I don't watch trailers and I try to, but this one caught my eye and I got through like half of it and then I stopped it because I was like, this is too much. It's good. I'm in.
Yeah, because I don't like to watch trailers like that either.
Because it was going through the whole story. I was like, oh shit, this is the movie, man.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like, because I don't like the spoilers. Yeah. But I really wanted to watch this only because I am a big Blue Beetle fan. I collected big Blue Beetle comic books. Yeah. And so I just want to make sure that they do it justice.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I did not care about, was that the AI was treated more of like an assistant to him. But in the comics, the AI is portrayed as its own organism. It is the scarab that's latched onto his back. And it can't be removed. Like it goes into his like spinal cord and it fuses with his body. They've had different people in the DC universe try to remove it. And it's like, if we remove it, it kills him type of thing.
So this is like,
it's like a parasite.
This is like a venom. Like it's own entity.
Yes. So if the way that they did Venom's voice over, which they probably didn't need to do, and that's a whole different thing with Sony, but is the way that I feel like Blue Beetles should have been.
It should have been a back and forth.
Because
they
that
had different
Scarab
ideas.
for Blue Beetle, just a quick run through of who he is. He's a kid. He found this thing. It ends up being alien technology that has been on Earth for years, like Egyptian times, ancient tech, and it's created by a race of aliens. They throw it on a planet so that it can find a host from that planet, and then it takes over completely. Like it takes over. If it hooked to you and it was in good working order, it would completely take over your body. The AI is now in control of your mind and everything, and its job is to get the planet ready for an invasion. Like pretty much take it over completely, and get it ready for an invasion.
Yeah.
And so in Jaime Reyes' case, that scarab is defective.
Yeah.
It got damaged on its crash landing to Earth. And so by the time he gets it, he is able to talk to the scarab, but he still has control over what's going on.
And he's not supposed to.
He's not supposed to. It's supposed to relinquish all control to the scarab itself. Yeah. And so that's why it's like, it adds humor to the comic books and everything, because for Blue Beetle, when he's talking to the scarab, it's in his mind. Like the scarab isn't talking to him audibly so he can hear it. It's talking to him in his head, because remember, it's connected through his body, through his spine. Yeah. So it's connecting to all the nerve endings. It's going to lead to your brainstem and everything. So that's the whole science behind it. Like it fuses with its host. It gets in there.
Yeah.
And so it's talking to him through his mind. So when people like are around him and he's arguing with the scarab, because it's like, I recommend lethal force. And he's like, no, we don't want to do lethal force.
Yeah.
And people are looking at him like, what the fuck are you talking about?
This fool's talking about lethal force.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's arguing with the scarab the whole time, trying to say like, no. But that's kind of the push and pull of his relationship with his powers. Yeah. That are stemmed from this alien technology that, again, is broken, and he's got to figure out how to take control of it and make sure it doesn't get loose, because it could become a dangerous item if it ever gets in working order again.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a hit from what it looks like in the trailer. So.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
I like the way they shot it. I like the family and everything. Like I saw a little bit of that, and like I like the story and that it's definitely like a new dynamic in the superhero DC comic book era kind of stuff. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be its own thing. And does James Gunn have anything to do with this one too? Because it seems like
I don't think it's James Gunn,
but he's overseeing all the DC universe now.
Yes, but Blue Beetle was in production way before.
It might have been in production already before he was even. But I don't know. He was doing stuff with DC.
The director is Angel Manuel Soto.
He did good. I mean, from what I saw, but
yeah, I don't know what else he's done.
I'm sure he probably advised at least. You know, James Gunn's he was doing the Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker and stuff, so I'm sure he was helping out some. But
well, this guy has not done a large amount of directorial things. I mean, I guess he has done things. So
this is his first big
I've
seen.
Yeah.
And so this is his first big swing. This is
his biggest movie.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing Marvel or DC movie, but
it's not that he hasn't won anything or done anything like that. So he has 11 award nominations, but they're smaller things like the International VR Award for Best Virtual Reality Film, Silver Angel Award for Excellence in Media, Audience Choice Award for Fiction. He was nominated. He won a jury prize for Best Short Film. Lots of short films, stuff like that. So we'll see. And then
that's what they need. They need new directors, new visions. You know, that's what Hollywood, survives on, is these new perspectives that people bring. You know,
and then it's also based in El Paso, and the kid is obviously Hispanic.
Yeah. So
it's supposed to. He touches up on a lot of his culture as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting too, because I don't think we've had a superhero feature film of a person of color that's in today's era.
Yeah.
As far as that, like the last time, like we had Blade,
Black Adam,
Black
Panther.
Black Panther, yeah. Black Panther's been a hit.
Yeah. And then I said Miles, but that was animated.
Yeah. But I mean, even outside of, like, if we even go further, is a Hispanic superhero.
Not really any.
No.
I mean, they had the dude in Ant-Man, but he wasn't.
No.
He was a sidekick kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not getting his own feature film either.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this will be a good film for DC for sure. But yeah, I like the direction they're going and what the projects they're talking about. It's interesting where they sound like they want to explore these other characters that are lesser known. Because I think that's where James Gunn thrives. Is he built Guardians of the Galaxy out of a comic that not a lot of people knew about, and he just blew the market open. With all these new, Rocket and Groot and all these like crazy.
Oh yeah, and when they first announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I was one of those people that just did not think that it was going to work. Because at that time, think about the other movies that they had. They had Thor, they had Iron Man,
Captain America,
Hulk, Captain America, right? Like there was very obvious type of superheroes that they were doing.
Yes.
And then they come out with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what?
Who are these guys?
These are like some really obscure 80s space Avengers.
Yeah. Nobody cares about.
And it was like, okay, they had a good run. This is what's going to destroy Marvel.
Did you ever hear about them? Like as a comic, like before the movie?
Yeah, I knew who they were.
Yeah, you saw it? I never seen it. I never even heard of it. I was like, what the fuck?
But it wasn't something that like, I was like, okay, well, I need to know about that.
Why and I think I
knew about who they were because of who was it? I think it was Nova. Yeah. I think it was a Nova Squad. There's
Nova Squad comic?
Yeah, Nova. Let me see. Nova.
Yeah, I don't think I ever heard of that either.
He's a superhero from The Nova Squad. Oh, they're gonna make a thing for him too.
Why not? Might as well. If you're saying they're connected, that makes sense.
That's Nova. Oh. The Nova Squad was actually, or I don't know if they're called Squad.
Oh, okay.
Or the Nova Corps, whoever they are. But yeah, this guy, that helmet and the suit and everything.
Okay, he's got a unique helmet.
Mm-hmm. But they're part of a group that are like they were mentioned in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in the first one.
Yeah.
But they haven't set up any specific.
You know, when they came out with the first Guardians, they talked about a Howard the Duck movie again because they had him in it. They had him in the first and second one, didn't they?
They had Howard the Duck movie that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, and that was I saw the movie.
I did not see it.
I grew up watching it on HBO.
I know who Howard the Duck was in the comics.
I didn't even know it was a comic. I was like, who the hell is this duck? I just remember seeing a duck.
I think when the movie came out, I wasn't aware, but as I got more into comics later, it kind of showed up. And then so when Howard the Duck came back, they did it at the end of a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I think it was.
Yeah, the first one.
As like a teaser.
He was
to show that he was part of the collector's
collection. The collector. He was sitting there with all the explosion and stuff that happened in the collector's lair or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, that's Howard the Duck. And I had heard already in some articles that he was going to be in it. So, but still, the way they updated his like look and everything and animated, it looked pretty cool.
It looked way better, yeah. And he's a funny character, yeah.
They probably eventually go back to it, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, they got some stuff cooking over there with DC, man.
Mm-hmm.
They got another season of Peacemaker. You watch Peacemaker, right?
Oh yeah. I'm excited for Peacemaker. Peacemaker was great.
Yeah, it was just a good character, and they really expanded on him in the show. Because you got one side of Peacemaker, but then they really like developed his character.
Spoilers too, but at the end of Shazam, there's an after credits that features characters from the Peacemaker TV show. Yeah,
that's what I heard. Yeah. And they had they had one of the characters too in Black Adam, right? The girl? Was
she in Black Adam?
Yeah, I want to say she was in Black Adam.
She might have been because
she took Black Adam away to remember when they had him in the water, whatever.
That apparatus. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
The blonde girl.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what the actress's name, but
I forgot her character name even.
But if you've seen Peacemaker, you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Because she's one of the main actors in that.
Yes.
She's basically second lead, right? To John Cena.
Mm-hmm. I would think so.
Yeah, I would say.
I think she's the love interest too.
Yeah, he likes her.
It goes one way. It goes one way.
He keeps following her around. Like, it was so funny, dude. Like,
that's such a good show.
I saw your car drive by multiple times.
Oh, dude, the end for that one was fucking hilarious. With the Justice League coming out.
Yeah.
They're like, you're late, guys.
His friend was funny. What was his friend's name? Peacemaker's friend, remember?
Vigilante.
Yeah, Vigilante. Oh my god, he was funny.
He was great too. Yeah.
Yeah, they had. That's what I'm saying. James Gunn he delivers these characters.
And you know why? It's because he just does what's fucking from the comics and how it's supposed to be done in the comics. That's why the comics sell. For a reason, because those stories were great.
And so when you
take them to the movies. Yeah. If you stay with the source material, you're going to be fine. But sometimes people are like, well,
they want to change things. Yeah.
I need to make it my thing.
Yeah. I want to change it.
The fans don't want your thing. The fans want the comics.
He should be like this.
Make the comics.
And they change his outfit and they do weird things. You know, and you're like, what are you doing? Get back to the essence they say James Gunn's a real like comic nerd, dude. He loves reading comics and he'll go back and read other comics and stuff like that he loved, and like, so he knows about all these guys that nobody or has heard of, but they're like, where did he get Weasel from, dude? Like for the second
Weasel?
The second, did you ever hear of Weasel like in any comic, dude?
No, I don't think so. But that was the whole point of what he did with them is
these obscure characters.
It's not that like the obscure characters, but I think they're all at one point Suicide Squad characters anyway.
No, they definitely are.
The whole thing about Suicide Squad was when it first came out, like, and we talked about Suicide Squad in the comics, they literally were just throwaway characters. And so they would die and everything, you know, like they would, oh shit, that's blown up. That guy's dead now. Yeah. And they were all for the most part like characters that like, you know, were featured in somebody's villain once, and they weren't that popular, and they never came back. Yeah, you know, like the Polka Dot Man. He came back. He has some few appearances in the comics and stuff, you know. Yeah. Originally, and so it's stuff like that. And so when they kill the characters, he did such a good job of like showing that everybody's expendable in this, including everybody I made you follow for the first 30 minutes of the film.
Yeah, he did mess up a whole crew.
Yes.
He just killed everybody off.
Killed them all.
Except for Harley Quinn, he couldn't kill her. Mm-hmm. He was like, no, you gotta live.
Well, you can't kill her.
And the other guy too,
there Colonel. Are certain characters.
Was it Colonel? What the fuck is his name? Colonel Flag?
Flag, yeah.
Yeah. That's his name.
Or is it Captain Flag?
That was Colonel. Maybe it'd be Captain Flag.
I don't know. Commander Flag? Who knows? Flag somebody.
Commando Flag.
He's in the military for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, we have to finish the part 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we left off. So a couple episodes back, we had you'd asked me to like do like a chronology of
well, yeah, we just kind of stumbled upon it, and then we just went down the rabbit hole
of what was going on in my theater youth as a kid, like so how I spent high school.
10th grade.
So we went to 10th grade, yeah. So I think in the middle of that we had like we did a summer camp for the kids coming in to.
Oh yeah, we finished 10th then.
Yeah. Okay. No, we haven't started 10th.
Oh, okay.
We did a summer camp for like junior high school kids.
Oh, going into 10th. Okay.
Going into 10th.
Yeah.
And I think also during that time, I took summer school.
Okay.
So I did PE over the summer.
Why would you do PE over the summer?
Because in my high school district, you had to have 2 PE credits, 2 years of PE.
Yeah.
You had to have a language credit, and you had to have all of your other normal like math and science and English writing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So by the time you're in 10th grade, like, so in freshman year, you have PE, and then you're able to take your elective credit, right?
Yeah.
And you can pick whatever you want. But by the time you're in 10th grade, you need to have a language, and you also need to take PE. So your elective credits are just pretty much taken up by those 2 things, PE and your language.
Yeah.
So I needed to take the language to graduate. So I chose Spanish, had a shitty ass teacher. I think halfway through that semester, I like decided I was like, I'm not even gonna try to finish this because I'm not learning anything. All he did was tell us to read the book, and he just sat there on the computer or his phone for the whole class time.
Sucks.
So I switched to a better teacher second semester, and I could not keep up in the class because I had learned so little in the first semester. So I barely passed and earned my Spanish credit. I went from an A in the previous class to like a C, barely passing.
Oh, you should have just stayed with the bad guy.
You would think, right? But like, I wanted to learn was the whole fucking point of me taking Spanish.
You had good
I'm going to learn to speak Spanish. It's going to be great. No, did not happen.
Good intentions, but you know.
Right. And then so going into 10th grade, I knew that I needed to free up a point there so that I can continue to be in the production and performance.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to take a theater class, the high end. You had to audition for theater class. And so I needed to do PE over the summer. So I did PE over the summer. I got like the most beautiful golden California tan you can think of. Like I look very pale. Okay. I'm one of those Hispanic people that's like, oh, your ancestors are from Spain because you look white. And then but when I was in PE over the summer, because all of the sports camps were taking up anything inside. So we were just pretty much in the hot California sun all summer long. Doing stuff outside. And so I was getting real tan. I got sunburn real bad. And then when you get sunburn and it keeps burning, you eventually just start tanning. And so I had a really good tan going on. It was great. I was in the best shape of my life probably at that point too. Because remember, I told you I was taking the weightlifting class freshman year. Yeah. So the PE coach for the summer of the 6 kids,
it was only 6 of you.
5 of them had failed PE the previous year. I was the only one taking it
as extra.
Yeah. So I can free up courses. So,
who came up with this idea? Did you ask the counselor or did they?
Oh, dude, my dad had told me this.
He's like taking extra class.
He told me this when I was in junior high. So I'd been taking extra classes since I was in junior high.
Oh, in the summer?
Over the summer, yeah. Oh, okay. Just to free up credits and electives and stuff.
So you could do different things.
Yeah. And the whole goal was, my dad said, by the time you're in senior year, you only have to go to school like for 2 or 3 classes a day.
Yeah.
If you finish them in the summer, because you can get your credits.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, fuck, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So I was the only kid that decided to do that in my family. Everyone else had to go to summer school because they needed the credits. I did it for extra credits. Yeah. And so he would leave me in charge of the class to like just chill in the weight room when the football camp didn't need it or something. Yeah. And so like, that's all we would do. We would go in the weight room. We would listen to the radio and, we would just chill in there. Yeah. Sometimes we work out, sometimes not. But there was, all these kids didn't really want to be there anyway. They were just trying to make up their credits. Yeah. And then so when I come into now 10th grade, I've got my performance and production credit there, so I can start.
So wait,
going to elective.
When did you audition for that?
Because I did that in
ninth?
In 9th grade, yeah. I went half the year. So the first half of 9th grade, I did computers. And the second half, I auditioned for the production performance. And I think we talked about that. I did the frog monologue and I ripped my pants. You remember? Yeah. Yeah. So 10th grade, and I think the first show we did for 10th grade, which was pretty huge, we did our winter show was Christmas Carol. Okay. And I played
Ebenezer Scrooge.
I played Ebenezer Scrooge in Christmas Carol. And we did a very dark version of the Christmas Carol too.
Oh shit. How'd you get darker?
There's a version of it out there that's a lot more like somber. No, it's just like more
it really digs in
than it is like Christmassy.
It digs into like his dark side.
Yeah, the ghosts are very, this is the show that we had great effects for. Like we had they took a fog machine, they hooked it up to a cooler full of dry ice so that the fog would stick to the floor of the stage. Yeah, like we warped the floor of that stage. And I remember like in the spots that the dry ice would leak and stuff, I would have to stand in those cold puddles sometimes because I was barefoot for the majority of the show.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not good.
No. That show actually fucked up my voice too because
they tell you not to touch dry ice.
Well, I wasn't touching. I was touching the aftermath.
I know, but your feet were absorbing like chemicals.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, but I mean, you do this for the art.
I know, dude. I watched someone do a play, and they had it looked like it was snowing. Like it came down, it looked like it was snowing, and it was all sparkly and everything. And I was talking to them after the show, and I was like, "What is that stuff you guys are dropping? It looked cool, because it looked all foggy and it looked like snow." And they were like, "Oh, it's instant potatoes." the dry stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, you get, and they're breathing it in. I'm like, has anyone ever like done like research on like breathing in dust from instant potatoes? Like,
it's probably not good for you.
It can't be good.
No.
And then they said, they were telling me that one time somebody mixed up the boxes and they used garlic potatoes.
Oh,
and
no.
Everybody was coughing, dude. They were like, because, it was getting in their throat and they weren't able to like do their lines and stuff like while it was snowing. And I was like, oh my God. And then, okay, this is another thing about theater too. They're not throwing that away. They're reusing it. So
sometimes, you have to.
Yeah, so they're sweeping it up for the next show, loading it back up into the canisters that are above them and the top. And then it's mixed with like dust, dirt, whatever kind of like grime was on the actual floor of the stage. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's even worse. Now you're breathing in dust and dirt and instant mashed potatoes.
It can be really bad.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you guys work in crazy conditions, dude. Like,
sometimes I explained that prank night for the Wizard of Oz at one point, didn't I?
Which prank night?
Did I not? I can't remember if I did.
I don't think so.
So the last night of a show is a prank night.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, we're going to talk about the Wizard of Oz too, because that's 10th grade. But like, for example, in 9th grade, freshman year, we did that really terrible show I told you about, the Two on an Island. It was about two couples, two strangers who were going to meet in New York in like old timey days.
Yeah. And
that one character I had, the bohemian dude.
Okay.
I had a limp. The character had like a weird cleft foot or something. I don't know.
So you had to give him a limp.
But I had to give him a limp. And so I had limped on the stage. And people thought, like, at the end of that performance, I got a lot of praises because they're like, oh, we thought you actually had a limp. We didn't know that was part of the character. It was like, no, it was the character. So I did it really well. And I remember that the theater teacher had worked with me a lot on drinking a martini. Like, one of the things I was supposed to do was shake up a martini and then pour that in there and drink it. Okay. Yeah. But there's no real liquid. And so I guess she said, it looks like you're just shaking this drink around, like you're spilling your drink everywhere. Yeah. So we ended up practicing with water. Yeah. And so, it can be a neat martini with nothing in it. So as far as like, they usually put the olive juice. So she's like, we're going to put water in there. So you're going to walk around with the water and you'll drink the water from the glass and stuff. Yeah. The prank night, though, they usually they'll change something or they'll fuck with the actors on stage. Yeah. And that's the last performance of the whole entire show. So you usually do like 6 or 8 performances, depending on matinees and whatnot.
Who gets to pick the prank?
Nobody.
So who knows?
Whoever's doing the prank.
So you don't know who.
And if it's a really bad prank, you want to run it by the teacher was the rule. But I would guess in a professional setting, you don't need to run it by anybody.
So is everybody doing one, or you don't know how
most people are in it? You just pick a target and you do something. So in this example, I was the target. Okay.
Yeah. You knew something was coming.
Yes. Right? I knew something was coming. So I was the target, and what happened was they switched out the water in the martini glass for pure lemon juice. I could smell it. It smelled like
you were tipped off.
Yeah,
too,
it smelled like pure lemon juice. I did not know what it was. I just thought it was lemon juice. I actually might have thought it was lemonade at the time, but I think later I was told it was lemon juice. And so I had poured it into the glass. Yeah. And I could smell it, so I knew I didn't want to drink it.
But you knew there was parts of the scene.
I had to drink. Yeah. So I pretended to drink. I pantomimed it. Yeah. So it made it look like I was drinking. And I was hoping that was good enough. Yeah. Right? Like, all of this time practicing how to drink on stage. Hopefully I did it right. Yeah. And I guess I did, because the theater teacher came to me and she was like, how did you like your drink? And I was like, what? She's like, did you like it? Because I had it switched out for something special for you. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean you don't know? It's like, I don't know. I didn't drink it. You didn't drink it? I was like, no. She's like, it looked like you had taken several swigs of it.
Yeah.
It was so convincing. I swore you drank it. Yeah. And I was like, I guess I just got good. She's like, I know you got good because you fooled me. And I was like, it was a very proud moment.
Nice.
Yeah. So in like, I was doing in 10th grade, the first major show, like we had 3 major shows. So the first major show, Scrooge and A Christmas Carol. And I played Scrooge. It was a pretty big hit. We had the dry ice, like I mentioned. We had other like great props and things, like a giant bridge that they made for this. And we also had Foley's.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned Foley's a little bit at a time, but basically they make the sound effects for the show. So it's real sound effects by somebody backstage creating them. So we had lots of thunder and lightning in this show, right? So they do the lighting effects and the thunder. They did it with giant sheets of aluminum.
Yeah.
And they would like, and they would just, there was 2 people and they would sling it. And it would just make that sound. They did other things like bells and whatnot. Like
wind chimes. Yeah.
Right. Anything that they can do to make sound from things you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not mainly the point, but you want to find something that makes it. Like a famous example is for like old Westerns and stuff or whatever they needed to do, like horses.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like the Foleys during that time for those movies, they would use coconuts. They would cut a coconut in half and they would clink that on like a surface, like a floor, and it would sound like a horse galloping.
Clomping.
The clomping, the clapping. Yeah. So this is a pretty big show for us. And especially for me, like I led it. And it was very well received. I had very long hair at this time because I'd grown my hair out. And I was about down to my shoulders. We spray painted my hair gray and we had the makeup like make me look as old as possible. And I went out there with a very raspy voice.
Yeah.
And there were people at the end of the show who was asking if I was a hired actor.
Yeah.
Like they didn't believe that I was a student.
Yeah.
They thought I was like a real like adult playing in the show.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Especially because like the picture, like they can take a picture for the playbill that they put in the the pamphlet of what's going on in the audience and whatnot. And you write a little bio for yourself, like Steven has been acting since he was such and such years old, and previous productions here, and here. You may have recognized him in the previous year's shows of this, and this, and whatnot. And he just hopes you have a great time. And then they show a little picture of you. And I'm pretty sure the picture of me was not, you would not believe that it was me because of the way the makeup and everything looked.
Yeah.
It was very dramatic looking. And I'll show you a picture.
All right.
I don't know. And maybe if you want, you can throw it up there on the socials too.
All right. Send it to me.
Yeah. Let me go. It's on my Facebook. But they had actually taken some of the other makeup from this show and took it to competition that year too. And the makeup artist for this show had won at competition. Oh. It wasn't my makeup, but it was another one.
Yeah. But it was the people that did your makeup won.
Right. So that's me in the middle there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. And that hair is my real hair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, it looks like a wig.
It looks like a wig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely not.
Yeah.
That's
it looks
my
like
real
you're
hair.
wearing it. Yeah.
It was just spray painted that gray color.
Man, they made you look old. I don't know how they did the cheeks really get you.
And so that's stage makeup. So stage makeup's a lot more dramatic with its lines and everything that you draw on the faces.
Creases on your forehead.
But by the time you're in the audience and you're looking at that from a distance, those sharp lines and edges blend into the audience. So it makes them pronounced.
Yeah.
But it looks natural from a distance, from farther away.
Yeah. Yeah, from a distance, it just looks like definition.
And I think I spent like a good 30 minutes or so. Here's like the test makeup without any other coloring on there.
Okay.
And then, of course, my hair, you can see, super long and gorgeous.
Yeah, dude, you're like real native right here. Dude.
I was, man. I don't know. It's fucking. That was
you
the
pretty
longest I ever
straight
had
hair.
it. A little wavy. It gets slightly wavy, but for the most part, it's straight.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, dude, you look like a different person.
I know, right? Like a totally different person.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, high school was crazy.
Yeah, high school's a hell of a time.
Here's like typical like teenager photo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no facial hair whatsoever. That's like me, dude.
I didn't grow facial hair until I was in college.
I know, dude.
And I don't even think I grew it out. I just kept shaving it off until I was out here in Arizona. That's when I started growing it out. Like I was just at work and I was like, well, I'm not customer facing here. I guess I can grow my
beard,
facial hair and see if it actually amounts to anything. And I've kept it ever since.
Yeah, I barely had a mustache too in high school. And now I'm full.
Oh, yeah. Dude. I can't imagine you without that.
I know, dude.
I don't know who you are. you show up to my house like that, I'll be like, what the fucking get out of here! Get out of here!
I shave all my facial hair, dude. You wouldn't even know who I was, dude. Be a whole different person.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know, dude. It's weird. It came later.
So yeah, that was 10th grade. Now, I remember that we were going to competitions. I mentioned that we'd taken some people. And you remember I told you I had a friend who was like a rival? Like, we were
frenemies.
Yeah, frenemies since junior high school.
Yeah, the frenemies.
I remember when we auditioned for the Christmas Carol show together.
Oh, here we go. Showdown.
And he was like, Steven, read with me. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Who you want me to read? I want you to read for the nephew, and I'm gonna read for Scrooge.
Yeah, like whoa.
And I'm like, that's cool, bro. Because I didn't care. I was very humble about it. Like I was like, look,
but
I'm gonna go out
he
there.
Was going for it.
I'm gonna audition. I knew he wanted it, and I wanted him to have it because we were friends.
Okay,
so
you were still kind of rooting for
like I'm not gonna like sit there and be like, yeah, go for it, bro. I want you to have it. I don't want it. No, but
it was like if I can't get it, I would rather him have it, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man, go for it.
Like you would be more mad if it was somebody else, not one of you two.
Yeah. Well, I guess I wouldn't be mad at either way, because in my perspective back then was, I believe the part needs to go to whoever
is the best,
deserves it. Like it's good for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'd be in a situation where you're like, no, dude, I know one of us was better than that dude, whoever they picked. So I'm sure you can think off the top of your head somebody that like, if they got it, you would have been like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So I was happy for him. Like, yeah, if that's what you want, man, of course. I know he wants it.
Yeah.
He's working really hard to like make a name for himself as much as I am.
But at the same time, you're like, you ain't getting this, sucker.
I didn't want to judge anything, but I was like, I don't know. I wasn't going for it.
No, you weren't going for it?
Because I took any audition the way that I thought, like, look, I'm just going to let them cast me where I belong. Like, I didn't care. I wasn't going to feel hurt with any role I got. And as I mentioned before, if I could not be on stage, I was going to do something.
Yeah. You just wanted to help.
That's all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
Like, did I imagine myself in every lead role that we had done? Of course.
Yeah. But you were good. You still read for it, right?
So we went up together to audition. I went and read with him. So we went as they give you scenes and they're like, pair up with somebody, do the scene, come and audition. So we read the scene. They given us a Scrooge scene with the nephew. And so this guy wants to be wants to do Scrooge.
Yeah.
And so, and we called him Wriggle. His name was Matt Wriggle. So he wanted to do Scrooge. And, I was like, cool, I'll audition for the nephew. So we do the first run. And then, the theater teacher is like, okay, that was great. And now let's have you guys switch.
And you didn't know they were going to switch?
No.
Okay.
But, that's not unheard. Just like read something else or, okay, I want you guys to read this scene next though.
Yeah. Switch it up.
So whatever. It's all good. So we
switched.
We switched. I read for Scrooge. And I remember I'd done like a really raspy voice, and I don't know if I can emulate it now, but it was like, I
Shaky?
Like,
was it shaky?
Humbug.
Yeah.
Like it was mean. It was old. It was raspy. If I had something to say, I would say something in the voice. But I can't think of any lines.
Say, Timmy, go fetch me some more logs from the fire. I don't know, something like that.
I can't right now. Let's see. Like, it was.
Who enters my room?
I don't know if I could do it.
Try it.
It was like, who enters my room? Why are you in my room? Or something like that.
Yeah.
It was angry. It was like a voice of a man who like was just so pissed off at the world. That's why I kept thinking. It's like, that's who Scrooge is, right?
Yeah.
And so I did something like that, and it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't what we ended up doing for the show.
You did it in the moment,
but I did it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ended up getting me to the role, was the fact that I had this voice for the character that sounded completely different.
They liked your voice.
They liked what I was doing with it, where it was like angry, but also kind of like, grumpy. It was an angry, grumpy type of character. And I'd probably do a better job if it was, we were doing karaoke all night last night. So I was singing my heart out, and my throat is just like gone. But I digress. The point is, I ended up getting the part.
Yeah.
He ended up playing the part of the nephew.
Yeah.
And so he was like,
how did you find out? Did you post
they post the listing on the wall,
and you guys all run up there?
Run up there, and it's like,
style.
Oh wow! And I remember,
you're like, did you see your name? And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was at the top, and I was like, oh my god, I'm Scrooge. Okay, that's cool. and I knew he really wanted it, and I thought he was gonna get it because he was like, we were both favorites for it.
Yeah, you knew going in.
Mm-hmm. So he ended up getting to play the nephew. So we were still going to be on stage together and whatnot, which is still pretty big role.
Yeah.
Decent. And then we had gone to the table reading. So like the first night of the first rehearsal that you go to, they give everybody the script, they get to know each other and whatnot. And then they do like a sit down and a reading. They do a cold reading of it. So we do a cold reading of the script, and I went with my first line, and I was doing the Scrooge voice, and I was just playing with it, and I remember after I did it, like everybody was staring at me.
After the first performance?
After just a cold read.
Oh, in the room?
Yeah, because we're all sitting at random spots in this classroom and the desks and whatnot. And so everyone's reading along as they're going through the script. And then it gets to my part. And so I do my raspy voice, my Scrooge voice. I remember it went like quiet. People started looking at me and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because they heard it, but they didn't register that was coming from me at first.
Yeah.
So I think it was a shock that I was doing it like that. And I don't even know why I was doing it like that. I just thought that it needed to be done like that.
Yeah.
And, you watch a lot of different like Christmas Carol things and looking back at it, no one does that kind of like raspy, grumpy, angry with a lot of like energy.
Yeah.
Scrooge is more like pushed back and like
he's more quiet and like doesn't want to be bothered.
Or aristocratic, where he's like looks down on you.
Yeah, he is better than everybody.
But mine was just like angry, grumpy, like old man with dementia is gonna swing at you.
I want to say Jim Carrey brought a little bit of that when he did the animated.
Yeah, I think he did ours before that one too.
Yeah, so he was a little bit more. He probably saw you. I mean, that's probably what it is. Yeah, of course.
I do remember the parts was like, they owe me money. They owe me money, and I'm going to collect, or something like that. No, it doesn't sound right. My voice is not working for me right now. But I swear I had recordings of it too.
I swear it was better, man.
It was way better than that. And I remember having to work on an accent. Like we had like CDs that we were supposed to be learning the English accent from, because there's like a proper English accent where things are a little bit done more with the front of your mouth. And then there's like a Cockney English accent where things are done from like the back of your throat.
Yeah.
And so like there's people learning those and the different methods and stuff so that they can come on stage and appear as different classes of people.
Yeah.
So it was a fun show. It was a good one for sure. And even the prank night for that one was pretty good too, because I remember we had like the ink wells and the feather that you're supposed to be like writing with and stuff for some of the different scenes, like while he's working and whatnot. And they replaced, like, there was never anything in it. It was painted to look like there was ink spilling out of it and whatnot. But this time they actually put paint in it. And it got all over my hands. Like my hands were turning black on the inside.
While you were acting, yeah.
While I was writing, it was because
you're doing all your normal movements and there's ink flying everywhere. Like,
right.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then that show was like, I was so cold because all I had on was I was barefoot and I had a nightgown that went past my knees.
Oh, because you had to do all the scenes of the ghost, the past, present, and future.
Yes. So you have like the first scene that's like.
So item 9. Yeah, hold it. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Damn, that's a big one. Mine's like half of that, huh?
It's a full gram. Yeah, and that usually a lot of people get half grams, but I like the full grams. I don't know, lasts longer. But anyways,
but anyways, what was I saying?
I don't know. What were you saying?
I don't even remember anymore.
Something about acting.
Oh yeah. So like, the first part of the scene, he's in the whole getup, and then immediately after that, you're at home. And so now you're just in for the rest of the entire show in this gown and no shoes on. And I'm walking around things. Like I remember at one point like the floor was getting damaged from that fog machine and stuff.
You guys did real damage.
Yeah. And so like at one point the floor splintered and I had like a splinter in my toe. Shit. I remember this other point where the microphone that one of the ghosts was wearing was dying, like the batteries died, and so they needed to replace the batteries, and it was a 9-volt battery, and they were trying to give it to us, but we were on stage and we were walking on this bridge, and I was like, oh shit. So I had grabbed the battery with my toes, and I was just holding onto it with my toes as I was walking around this bridge so that I can get this battery across stage.
Without being noticed?
Without being noticed.
Oh, my God.
I mean, there's all this stuff that happens backstage during shows like this, you know? Like, not everything always goes exactly the way it's supposed to.
You got to adjust and fly.
You have to adjust. And like I mentioned before, you have to play off the audience as well sometimes. Like, for example...
Like, if something falls on the set, you got to, like, make it like it was supposed to happen or something? Or,
for the most part, if something happens like that,
a tree falls down.
And depending on the type of show, whether it be more of like a comedic piece or something, it can be like, oh, that tree finally fell down. It's been hanging there for years and I thought it was going to fall last week during the thunderstorm or whatnot. I don't know. But let's see. So in this show, I think I don't know where I was going with that.
9-volt battery.
Oh yeah, the 9-volt battery across the stage. It was the winter shows. It was all great. And then I remember some romance came into this. So
in real life or the show?
Yeah, in real life.
Whoa.
I met one of the girls on the show. She was the stage manager for that show.
Hey.
And we started dating.
Yeah.
And in production and performance, she was going to be doing, as soon as the winter break was over, we were going to be doing a production performance show. So it's a class production of Odd Couple, which is a comedic show. And I was one of the people in the show And this was like a big fucking piece of drama that happened. She was a director, and we had a due date to have our lines memorized and be off book.
Okay.
So with that due date in mind, I was not completely off book. Okay. But I was about to be off book. Like I was pretty good. Like
you were getting it down.
Yeah. And I had already had to like figure out all the lines for the main shows. And
yeah.
So this was second priority to me because this wasn't going to start performing until like February or something.
Yeah.
Or January, February, something like that. And so I remember the 2 days before that happened, my mom pulled us out of school because we were going to go to New Mexico for the winter. And so I was being sent to New Mexico.
Wow.
So
she just decided you're going to New Mexico?
It was like planned, but I thought it was going to happen like when the break happened. But for her, it was easier just to pull us out 2 days early before break.
Oh, 2 days early. Okay.
So I didn't go to school those last 2 days. And that's when they were testing us for being off book.
Oh.
Now, I talked to my then girlfriend at the time, like while I was in New Mexico, like almost every night on the phone, you know, and I ran my lines through with her. So she knew I was off book.
Yeah.
When I come back, they're upset that I was not off book at that time. And I was like, well, but I'm off book now. I've been off book. And the student directors had made the decision that as punishment for not being off book, I was going to be recasted.
Yeah.
The student director, being my girlfriend, was recasting me from the supporting lead that I was in the show.
What is she doing?
And the fucking part that caused a lot of drama was that the person they were recasting me was not even in the class for the class production.
She chose them?
They chose them, yeah. They chose him. And he was in the after school stuff. And he was a choir kid and he was in another theater class, like a year one theater class or something. He was like a year under us. He was a freshman. And so they were going to replace me with him. And I didn't find out until like later that week. Like they had already told him, they had made that decision before the winter break.
So wait,
they gave him the script. They didn't tell me this until I came back. I was rehearsing my lines with her.
Yes. So the whole time you're rehearsing with her, she's not telling you that she's looking for your replacement?
That my replacement had already been found, picked, and concluded.
What kind of psychopath are you dating?
What the fuck, right?
That's some psycho shit.
It was some fucking bullshit.
How can she act a certain way with you, but then turn around and be like scheming?
I had a best friend too that ran into that guy, and
she must have had something going on with this dude then. No. It was
She
just found a replacement.
Yeah,
behind your back,
the without telling you. Is pretty like, you know, who's like, oh, that guy's good,
without mentioning it one time on any call.
Yeah, but the fact that she didn't tell me anything, nobody told me
anything,
and
let you keep rehearsing like a dumbass.
And so they said, oh, well, I mean, you're off book now, but we gave him his lines and he's been practicing, so it's not fair to him that we tell him he can't do it now. So you're going to do half the shows and he's going to do the other half of shows. And I'm like, you don't think it's not fair to me, the student who's in the fucking class
that's been practicing from the start
for the class production?
This guy's been practicing.
And this guy's not even in the class.
What, he's been practicing for a whole week? Like, yeah, fuck him. I've been practicing for months.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
Like, he just never been on set with us. He's never like acted with the other people before.
Yeah.
So I protested it.
You're like, in my own way. I'm not doing it.
I was like, well, I'm not going to be part of the show then. If I'm not playing my part the entire time,
I'm not splitting it.
I'm not going to split it. I'm not going to share it. They're like, well, then you're not going to be in the show. And this will affect your grade. And I was like, then that's fine. Because I already have an A+ in this class. I'm not going to fail it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be part of the show. And I'm going to let everybody know.
Suck it.
So I refused to be a part of the show if he was going to continue to do it.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we only had 2 nights. It was a class performance. So there's only 2 nights really that we were performing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the major ones where it goes for 2 weeks. So we had the 2 nights. And
yeah, it's weird to split it if it's only 2 nights.
Yeah, I was supposed to do one night. He was supposed to do the other.
Yeah, for what? That makes more sense if there's like 15 shows or something, you know, like, or 16 or whatever, you know, 20 shows. Then you split 10 and 10 or something.
And the lead in this was one of my friends too, the same guy, Matt Riggle.
Yeah,
his name was Riggle, and so he was in the show as well, and he was the lead. I was the supporting, so we had 2 leads in that, and then so it really pissed me off. I was so upset with it all. And even another friend had like gone up to that kid and told him, it was like,
watch your back, bitch.
Yeah. He's like, you know, it's really fucked up what you're doing to Steven. Cause the kid goes to blame too. He's like, well, all he had to say was, that's okay. Steven knows his lines and he's going to do it. I'm going to back away. But the kid didn't want to because he wanted to be in this fucking show. He wanted to be in a show.
That's the tough part, you know, because I could see like you being you.
I knew because I went through this before. Okay?
That's what I'm saying. You being you would have done that. You were definitely you're the type of person that would have been like, no, he deserved it. He should do it. And you would have stepped back. But
yes,
I can see if someone tells me, hey, you're doing the shows, XYZ happened and you got to do the lines now. And then you start practicing and they give it to you. You know, what are you supposed to do?
I get that point too. And I remember my friend, he told me, he's like, and I told him, it was like, well, because he said,
I wouldn't be so mad at him.
Steven would do the same thing. If they were giving him the part, he would have taken the part. Yeah. And the guy said, no, Steven wouldn't do that because Steven would understand if you knew your lines and it was your show and you were ready to go, that he would not need to go on. Yeah. That would be the only reason you would need to go on. You're going on for selfish reasons, what he told him. And so that kid had begged me to do at least half the show. And I was like, look, man, I feel like this is my show. I know the lines better than you do. They told you could probably go on with the script in your hand if you needed to.
That's like, dumb. Yeah.
I think that's bullshit. So no, I'm not going to talk to you about it. So.
Yeah. So he's kind of freaking out. He wanted you to do it too.
You know what happened both those nights?
He fucking tanked.
He fucked it up.
Yeah.
He fucked up the show.
He knew he was. He was there.
There were parts where, and some of my friend up there, he wouldn't help him.
Ooh, put him out to dry.
He put him out to dry.
You ever seen Whiplash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember Whiplash at the end where he gives them the different notes to a different song. So he's up there and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
To make him look Steven.
Yeah. To really like, he's like, you'll never work in this town again. Or, you know, he tells him something and then he just goes off on that fucking solo. But yeah, in the end, he like the drummer pulls it out. But this guy didn't pull it out, right? He didn't. Doesn't sound like he pulled it out.
That was other drama that happened. We broke up, me and that girl.
Yeah, dude, she's fucking psycho, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you do that? Like, it's one thing if you don't like the person.
That was another fucked up thing. Like, if I was just some other random dude, but like, come on, like we were dating.
That's the weirdest part to it. I mean, it's one thing to conspire and, you know, do things and, you know, be like, hey, I'm doing this to so and so because I think it's the right thing to do or whatever. That's one thing. But then to be talking to the person literally about the thing that you're gonna fuck them over with, you know, like that's some weird shit, man. Like, I don't know. That's on another level, dude. That's some dark shit right there. You just you act a certain way with somebody, but then behind their back you're doing the opposite, you know?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's bad.
It is. Yeah, that's more of who your friend should have been mad about or mad at than rather than the actor be like, yo, why is this chick scheming behind your back when you guys are supposed to be dating? Like, what's going on here, dude? Like, this is the types that end up in Hollywood, dude. Like, that's why Hollywood gets fucked up because these people make it all the way up there and then they start doing shit like that, you know, to people, you know, scheming and getting their ins and outs and whatever they want, you know, pulling strings, you know, it's all about power play. She had some power, dude, and she was wielding it, dude. She's like, no, Steven will not be in the play after all. You're like, whoa. What?
She really could have said something, but no.
At any point she could have said, you should have tested and you should have been, you know, you guys could have talked about it. You know, she could have brought it up to you. Like, She could have been like, hey, it does annoy me.
I remember like not talking to her about it at all. Like just because of how upset I was about the entire thing.
Oh, and dude, then like you're way too nice, dude. I would have been like, what the fuck? Like I would have had to have the conversation like, what is happening right now? Am I losing my mind? Because we were literally talking about this on the phone and I was going over it with you, and now you're telling people I don't know the lines. Like, what is going on? Yeah, I would have definitely I was like, who am I talking to? What personality are you right now? Because I don't know what is going on in your head. Yeah, that's the weird. I would have wanted some answers. Like, oh, I don't think you're right for the part. I would have been like, what? What? You couldn't tell me this 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, it was a super upsetting thing.
Yeah, I'm trying not to relive it. It's making me mad, dude.
Like, it should.
I want to go talk to this person.
That's not the first time, too, that I was recasted.
There's another time you got it.
Yeah, dude, this one's kind of funnier, though.
What are we at right now?
We're an hour 20.
Okay, we got to do a part 4, dude.
Yeah, but we might as well finish 10th grade.
Okay, let's finish that.
All right, we'll finish 10th grade at least. So another thing we did was a competition.
Yeah.
Okay. And my friend Wriggle, my arch nemesis, my rival, my frenemy.
Yeah.
He's the guy who kept me pushing, and I kept pushing him. Right.
Riggs. We'll call him Riggs.
You can call him Riggs. We call him Wriggle.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was we were doing a competition. He was taking a comedic scene. He was doing, if you've never seen it, but it's like the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged, and it's by the Abridged Shakespeare Company or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's usually like a 3-man show, and their whole entire thing is to get through like everything Shakespeare did.
Yeah.
In the amount of like 2-hour show.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, it's only the two guys doing multiple parts and just kind of shortening up things or explaining what Shakespeare meant during that stuff. Kind of like the drunk Shakespeare event that we went to, except on a larger scale.
Yeah.
And there's no drinking, and it's really well done. So there's a scene. It's a Romeo and Juliet scene. So my friend, he wants to play the guy who's playing Juliet, and they want me to do the narration. So in the scene, you have the two actors who are playing all the characters from the show. And then you have the narrator who is reading like Shakespeare's complete volume of things in that giant textbook. And so in order to take this to competition, you have to audition. So we auditioned in front of the teacher to see if we were allowed to go to the competition.
Yeah.
And so we take this show up there, the three of us, and we start the audition. And she stops it, and she's like, I know you've been practicing this, but you're not doing it justice. She was upset with Wriggle for doing it more slapsticky comedy and losing the focus of what it was, which is Shakespeare. You're supposed to be telling
more of a proper
she wanted you to do it justice. So her example of this is like, the actors who created this, sure, it is meant to be funny, but it's only funny because the actors do care about the Shakespeare and are trying to tell you what happened in that show. But the way they do it,
they're not playing it up so much.
They're not playing it up.
Yeah, they're playing straight.
The humor about themselves, trying to show you Shakespeare.
So they're playing it straightest, and you get the comedy
some
out
of it. Is comedy. Like some of it's exaggerated and whatnot in what they do. Like, he's playing Juliet, and his is going to be like, ooh, and blink the eyes and fan the face and whatnot. But
those are few and far.
Right. The whole point, though, is that you're not focusing on the slapstick of it all. You're trying to move it through with what the source material is, which is Romeo and Juliet. It's Shakespeare, and you have to hold that to a certain degree because that's what you're working with.
You have a lot of where art thou and all that stuff.
And she was like, "You're missing all the satire humor." Because you're playing it like it's just some big giant joke.
You're overplaying.
If you're playing as some big giant joke, you're not going to get anywhere because you're losing the point of the material.
I see that. I see what that point.
And she made that like that. She said the only person on stage who has not lost the point of this material is Steven.
Whoa.
And he knows what he's doing. So maybe you should talk to him about it.
Whoa. And you were playing it straight?
I was playing it like I thought that, because the way I approach it.
You were playing it as Shakespeare.
The way I do it is I approach the character the way I imagine that character would act in its given scenario. And I just had like a natural talent for doing that. I had started creating my own method acting before I actually learned what method acting was.
Yeah.
Like I would get into the characters and I would totally try to think like them and be them.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I thought it needed to be done. And so the narrator, I played him off a little cheesy, but also very like stern. It was like, when last we saw our dear Capulet and Montague, and then I would play it as I was supposed to, as a narrator, engaging the audience, trying to bring you into whatever it was I was showing you and get you started into the scene. And
you
also,
actually move things along too.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, you move things through the scenes.
She criticized them. She praised me.
You're like, yes.
And then when we went to take it back and we were going to meet up again, he was like, hey, Steven, thanks for helping me out with the scene, but I actually found someone else to do it. I was like, wait, what? You don't want me in your scene anymore? And he's like, no. I found someone else to do it. It's fine. You don't have to do it. Like as if it was like a chore for me or something.
Like he was doing you a favor.
Yeah. Like, so he pretty much recasted me.
Whoa.
Because he was upset that he didn't get the glory in it. That's what I know. Like, I don't have to be told like, oh yeah, you know what, man, that's totally what happened. He doesn't have to ever tell me, but I know he was just pissed off that I was taking the spotlight from him.
Yeah, you were outshining
He was supposed to be his show, and I was supposed to be just like a filler piece for him. Like, he couldn't find anyone else to do it. He asked me to do it. I said, sure, man, I'm going to do it for you.
And now you're doing too good.
I'm doing too good for him.
Yeah.
I'm outshining him in a stupid narration part. He had to be a little weenie about it. So yeah, that was like the second time I had casting issues. What else did we do? We did Wizard of Oz for our musical. Okay. I think that was a spring musical for that one. Was
Cowardly
junior
Lion?
year or sophomore year? No, I did not act.
You just sewed.
I was a technology manager, the tech manager.
Whoa.
So I was in charge of the
lighting?
sound and lighting.
Okay.
As far as, I had a crew to manage. I had a sound crew and I had a sound crew and a lighting crew. And within that crew was a sound manager and a lighting manager. And I was in charge of all of it. And I had to meet directly with the directors and explain what we were doing and get up on the lights and show them blah, 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 and do all that crazy stuff. And
so you played the Witches song. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, well, I had to help make sure that stuff was ready and good to go. And I think one of the main reasons
lighting
I wasn't in this show was that I had knee surgery. I had knee surgery.
You couldn't move around that. Dude, what was going on with your knee? Dude, you're only in high school.
Yeah.
And you're in theater. I played baseball.
Yeah.
Football. I did track, and I never had no knee surgery.
Well, I had torn my meniscus in like fifth grade.
Shit.
Running on the blacktop, dude, making like a sharp turn. I tore it, but I didn't know. And so over time, just extending and retracting my knee in daily basis, it would start to pop. And so what they told me is that my meniscus would catch in my joint and it would pop in and out.
Ooh.
As it would catch, like when the knee would bend, it would fold it back and then it would pop. It would spring back into place.
Yeah.
And doing that ripped it more and more. So they had to take a majority of my meniscus out.
What the fuck?
Because eventually it got to a point where if my knee stayed stayed bent for too long, it would feel like it was getting stuck. And I would go to like extend it and it would go like pop like that.
Ooh, shit.
Like really bad. And so, I had to get surgery on my knee. And so I was still like doing physical therapy and stuff by the time we came back to this Wizard of Oz show, I believe. And so by the time we were doing the performance for the show, I was pretty much healed. But I was in crutches, or at least a crutch, or limping around.
Yeah.
Couldn't walk the best during the start of the show.
So you missed out on.
Yeah. So I did the technology for that. And I did some more innovative things that we hadn't really done before. I took a projector that was mounted there because it's also, there's a projector screen, and they wanted to have the face of the Wizard of Oz projected on a wall. And so I figured out how I can use the built-in stuff. Like there was built-in audio and video lines that went directly to the sound booth.
Yeah.
Built into the stage. And no one knew how to use those lines, or that there were adapters for those video lines. Like there are special connectors that you had to get adapters for in order to use those video lines. And so I was like the first person to figure out how all of that worked and ran. And so I was able to hook a camera in, and we had like live camera feed of or video of going through the projectors and stuff like that. So I had video of the show. So I had live video of the show. We had a projector going through on the wall. And I remember that we had to put the projector up every night.
Yeah.
And the way that we had to do it was with a little box to hide the projector on the lip of the stage. And we had the golden brick road in the front of the stage, which is called the orchestra pit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like between the audience and the stage.
Yeah.
They had built a road, and the actresses and the actors would walk off on that road, and they leave the auditorium. They go around the school to get back to the backstage area. And so during the first half of the show, I was in the tech booth. Second half of the show, I had to grab the projector, which was laying ready to be plugged. It was plugged in, made in this little box that I would put on the stage. And there was a laptop, one of the teacher's laptops, that I had to play the video from.
Yeah.
And I had to do that all from under the stage.
And that was for...
Yeah, so I had to stay the entire second half of that show underneath the yellow brick road so that I can play the wizard scene.
Yeah. So you had the big green.
I spent the entire show just laying on the floor out there underneath this yellow brick road structure, and people walking on top of me. Yeah. And that was a pretty long second half of the show.
So you're just laying there.
So I was just laying there. That was a good one. What else did we do really quickly? I think we did. I honestly can't remember what the last show was. I want to say it was Pink Panther.
Okay.
I think we did Pink Panther. And that was another one we did the projector and the cameras with. But this time we used like the actual camera. Like there was a video camera. We had a bunch of stagehands that were dressed as panthers. They had like the little Pink Panther. They were dressed in all black, like leotards almost. They had like Pink Panther little ears and pink tails and little pink mittens and stuff, I think. And I could be wrong, but do you remember Greg from The Wedding? My friend from Arkansas?
I think so.
Yeah, he was actually one of those Panthers too, because he was in theater with me.
Tall dude?
Yeah, the tall dude.
He's from Australia?
No, he's in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
He's in Arkansas, but he's from Chino Hills, my hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I directed that show. So I was the director of that one, and I had also the good experience in the tech side and the acting stuff. So I was doing a lot back and forth trying to like help people with things. But one of the things we did was I was able to show them like, look, we can plug this camcorder directly into the stage. And then we have a long enough cable. Your panthers that are walking around the stage can hold this. And there was a scene where there was a world domination kind of situation. Yeah. Like think like Dr. Evil broadcasting to the UN and stuff and threatening to blow up hospitals or whatnot. Yeah. So we had a character like that in the show, and they videotaped her doing that announcement. But they made her look like hilarious looking, and it was a very comedic show. It was a good one too.
Yeah.
I know we were like coming to time and stuff, but I don't think much more. I think I covered the main parts of my 10th grade year. I did win a lot of awards within the school during that time too. Like I told you, we had an award show at the end of the year of every year.
Yeah.
So I won a lot, and
Best
I think
actor.
Even Wriggle had mentioned. I think it was at the end of the Pink Panther show, or maybe there was another show, and we had done a couple like classroom productions and stuff too. So we were doing so much that year. It was a really big year for us. And Wriggle, my rival, he had mentioned during one of those shows, we were sitting there in the green room, and we did a kudos thing. Like we would give praise and stuff.
Yeah.
And he had thanked me and gave me kudos. It was like, Steven, I feel like I just want to say this was the year of Steven. Like you did so much. You're a tech manager. You were lead in Scrooge and Marley's Christmas Carol. You directed the Pink Panther, and he listed the other things he'd done. He took things to competition. He was like, and I think this was just your year. Like he was pretty much telling me I peaked in 10th grade, but he'd given me praise too. Like, we were friends.
Yeah.
We were good friends.
Frenemies.
But I always felt that we had like an unspoken rivalry.
Unspoken.
It was
you guys
unspoken.
never talked about.
I don't think we ever talked about it. Like we never like sat down and been like,
never acknowledged.
Bro, like we were competing all of high school, right? And he's like, yeah, no, we never. But I'm sure he would
so
probably
funny.
agree. He would probably agree.
What is he up to? Can you find him or message
I feel
him?
like the last I heard from him, he was working as he was doing acting, but in a character role, kind of.
Okay.
For Knott's Berry Farm in the theme parks.
Okay.
I can't remember if that's where he still is or not, but it's been a long time.
You should hit him up, man. Be like, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when
actually, like Greg from my wedding, he was talking about like how we should get some of these old friends together and do some type of reunion.
Yeah.
I totally agree with it too.
Yeah.
And my college friends said the same thing to me too. They're like, we need to have a reunion. I was like, yeah, we do.
That's
but I guess college is probably end up being like a part 6, part 5 at this point.
I know, right?
No, I don't think the craziest things here is that we knew at this point too, at the end of the 10th grade, that our theater teacher was not coming back. And the person they were replacing her with was my sophomore year.
Was your girlfriend. I'm
English
just
teacher. And she was she was a decently nice lady.
He said terrible though.
Perfectly
first.
pleasant. But she was not the best teacher. She could not keep control of a class. So I knew she was not going to be able to keep control of the theater.
You guys are wild.
It was pretty chaotic. Like it could be like,
yeah.
Things get emotional. Things get stressful.
Yes.
There's plenty of times where we sat there and the theater teacher has to chew us out.
Stress, tension.
I mean, I've done stuff that I wasn't like proud of too, like in theater. Like I remember like someone had brought Guitar Hero backstage.
Oh, great.
And like I remember I was playing Guitar Hero and someone called me out on it, being like, well, you're supposed to be the director of the show. We had a terrible night here, and you're just back there playing Guitar Hero the whole time. How are you supposed to watch us? And I'm like, damn, you're right. I was back there and I was playing Guitar Hero the whole fucking time.
Why were you doing that?
I don't know, man. It just seemed like a fun thing to do at the time.
All right, man. We'll get into the next part.
We'll get into it. But so coming up to junior year and senior year, things were changing. Now
getting into the change of regime.
Yes, it actually changed a whole bunch of my like plans.
Regime. There was
because I was supposed to be a mascot for the school.
All right. Let's say
there's a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, we got some teasers going into the next one.
Definitely.
We'll start it earlier too next time. That way we can We'll finish it.
Because I think we went like 40 minutes before we got to this.
We'll finish whatever you have left in the next one. we won't make a part 6, okay, or part 7.
We'll see.
It's not Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
okay,
we'll start right away.
We'll see. I don't know what's gonna come out.
Like
man.
shit, I thought you wanted the whole point was to get through the entire like experience through college and shit too.
Hey man, as soon as this was in the beginning when you were like, yeah, I did theater. You were just kind of like nonchalanting it, and then I dug a little deeper, and now all these memories. It's like
it just kept going.
I kicked up the bottom of the ocean, and all this dust is now up in the air.
It takes a while for it to settle.
It's not settling. It's still
definitely
flowing.
not settling. But all right, this has been another great episode of Digital Cortex. My name, as always, is Steven, and that's Random Styles. And I think we just hope you have a great night.
Later.